Hi everyone, this is Miss Luris. This is going to be how I will be delivering your lectures from now on until this quarantine is over. Just in case you don't really want to read through the whole thing, you could just listen to this. I will obviously post the PowerPoint as well if you guys would rather read and not listen to me, which I understand. Okay, so this chapter is going to be called The Psychology of Motivation. It also touches upon emotions. And it's chapter 13. You might notice that we're skipping around a bit. That's just, I'm trying to touch upon all of the more interesting topics and leaving the more boring ones out. And we're following the curriculum. So this is section 1. And we're going to be talking about motives and the different theories of motivation. So, a motive is a stimulus that moves a person to behave in ways designed to accomplish a specific goal. So, things that motivate us could be getting good grades or wanting to get a good job, but those are just kind of motivations that involve academics or career. But we have other motivations that are more inborn, like the motivation to eat and the motivation to sleep. And we will talk about those as well. This is considered a construct, just like consciousness, just like sleeping and dreaming. So it cannot be seen or measured directly. And you're going to notice a lot of that in psychology as a whole. So a need is split up into two separate kind of areas, two different fields. So a need is a condition in which we require something that we lack. So we require it. We don't want it, we require it. A biological need could be sleep, food, oxygen, shelter, anything that we kind of need in order to live, biological needs. And psychological needs could be achievement, self-esteem, sense of belonging, social approval, maybe making friends, being loved by your family, stuff like that. This could be learned, whereas biological needs are not learned, they are inherent. Psychological needs can be learned. So you could become a vegetarian. Vegetarianism is a learned behavior. You're not born a vegetarian. And that would file under psychological needs. So a drive is a force that motivates an organism to take action. So a drive and a need are different. A need is something that, let me go back to need, is a condition where we require something that we lack. And the drive is what forces us or what motivates us to meet that need. Okay, so they kind of go hand in hand, but they aren't the same. For example, hunger, thirst, the longer the deprivation, the stronger the drive becomes. So if you eat a big meal and you're super full, your hunger drive may not be that strong. It's probably very little or none at all. But if you don't eat for 3 days, your hunger drive will be very strong and you'll have to you'll be more motivated to meet that need. So here are the 4 theories of motivation. We will kind of whiz through this. We have instinct theory, drive reduction theory, humanistic theory, and sociocultural theory. And your assignment today is going to be on humanistic theory. So the instinct theory. What is an instinct? Think about it. What is an instinct? Animals have instincts. So they are behavior patterns that are genetically transmitted from generation to generation down a long lineage of species or, whatever it may be. They are fixed action patterns. For example, bees perform an instinctive dance to relay location of food to other bees. Some psychologists think that people have instincts that foster survival, which I tend to believe we have a survival instinct, which is why When people are drowning, they are instinctually trying to stay afloat. It's more than wanting to survive, it's the actual instinctual need to survive. However, there are too many variations in human behavior. Okay, the drive reduction theory by Clark Hull in the 1930s. So, this is kind of an old theory. People and animals experience a drive arising from a need as an unpleasant tension. Okay, so you have this unpleasant kind of anxiety or tension that exists in your mind, I guess, and you are going to try to reduce that tension. You're going to try to reduce that anxiety. So, for example, eating to reduce hunger. Hunger is your tension, and you've learned that eating reduces that. So, you are going to continuously eat to reduce hunger. Sorry about that, I had to sneeze. Okay. Prevalent in learned drives. So, for example, money. Money is a learned drive. You are not born wanting money. It is as you guys learned last chapter, a secondary reinforcer, as well as biological drives, hunger. So, you can learn to reduce the tension in learned drives, like things that we don't need to survive, and biological drives, things that we do need to survive. And this maintains homeostasis. And if you remember in science, homeostasis just means balance in the body. Okay, humanistic theory. This is actually really interesting. Humanistic theory states that people are motivated by the conscious desire for personal growth and artistic fulfillment. Sometimes our drive to fulfill such needs outweighs our drive to meet more basic needs. So, people are motivated by wanting to grow as a person, by wanting to really express themselves and achieve their fullest potential. And sometimes it can outweigh the more basic needs, like a quote unquote starving artist. It's more important for them to create art than to pay their rent and kind of eat nutritious meals and stuff like that. So, for example, writers committing themselves to artistic goals even though they are unable to make a living by doing so, or musicians practicing long hours instead of spending time with friends and family. A lot of people could fall into this rut, kind of putting work before their family, friends, and maybe even eating. But that would fall under humanistic theory of motivation. Now, Abraham Maslow was a humanistic theorist, a psychologist, and he coined the term self actualization, which was the very, very top pinnacle of human life. It was basically the need to become what one believes he or she is capable of being. So, reaching your absolute utmost potential, having met all of your needs, you are at the top of the proverbial mountain and you cannot kind of get any better or improve anymore. So he believed in a hierarchy of needs. And a hierarchy just means kind of like a chain of command from the bottom going all the way to the top. And he said that once a person's needs are satisfied at one level, they go to the next level, kind of like a video game. Once you beat the first level, you go to the next level and the next level and the next level until you get to self actualization. So, this is the kind of top level. And once you reach this, you've kind of won the game. And we're going to take a look at this hierarchy. This is the hierarchy, and this is what you are going to be using for your diary for the deserted island thing. So physiological is at the very bottom. You see here, it's green. And physiological basically just means biological, what you actually need to survive. So food, water, warmth, and rest, sleep. Once you kind of achieve those things, then you can move up to safety. So these are the most important things, the physiological things. Those are the most important. Then you move up to safety, which is protection from danger, security, stability. You can maybe file in shelter into there, just making sure that you're safe from danger. Then you move up to love and belongingness, which basically is kind of fitting in with a group of friends, finding a significant other, being accepted into maybe a group at work or at school, being accepted or feeling a sense of belongingness with your family. Once you've achieved that, you can go up to esteem. Now, esteem is a little bit more complicated to understand, but basically it's being able to achieve at work or at school, being competent in something, so maybe doing really well in an area of study or being really good at your job, recognition, being recognized by your peers for your hard work, and respect from others. So this all has to do with your achievement and self-esteem. And once you have completed all four of these things, you've met your physiological needs, you've met your safety needs, you've met your loving belongingness needs, and you've met your esteem needs, then you go all the way up to the top of the hierarchy, which is self-actualization. And basically, you are fulfilled, completely fulfilled. And at this point, you could start giving back to your community. You could start working in as for charitable causes. You could start trying to help others reach self-actualization. So that could be feeding the homeless or I don't know, teaching. Like I don't know if I've reached self-actualization, but things where you're actually helping others and you're not just helping yourself. And finally, sociocultural theory. Sociocultural theory depends a lot on where you live and what kind of culture you come from. And it says that basic drives, such as hunger, are influenced by cultural experiences. So people who live in maybe Japan or parts of Africa have different basic drives than people who live in the United States. It is shaped by your culture. So here we have McDonald's, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, all of these kind of fast food places, chain places. But in other parts of the world, these wouldn't really come into play as far as their basic drives, as far as their motivations. So I want you guys to think about these. I will maybe post a couple videos. I'm definitely posting a video on this. I really want you to understand what this is because you are going to need it to write your 1-paragraph diary entry. Okay? If anyone has any questions or you want to reach out, please do so. You know how to email me, you know how to get in touch with me. And I hope you're all staying really safe and have a good one.